My name is Peter Larkum, and this is Mentality Meets. Today we're going to be talking with Marsha McAdam, and Marsha and I have known each other now for the last few months, and yet we have only met once. So what I want to do with Marsha, and what Marsha is going to do with us today, is she's going to talk us through the symptoms for borderline personality disorders. We're going to be touching into a whole load of stuff. So with this session, I would really like to ask you to just be aware of what's going on inside of you. This is Mentality Meets. So let's begin. Hi everybody, I am Peter Larkum. I am the host of these sessions, which I've never actually said before, which just sounds a little bit weird. But today we're going to be talking to Marsha McAdam. So Marsha, can you just say a very quick hello so people can at least see who you are on the chat today?
Hi, I'm Marsha McAdam with my curly hair today.
Curly hair. I did say to Marsha that she's got fantastic curly hair, and she just needs a little tabletop fan going on in the background just to give her that kind of gentle, wispy feeling. You know, she could then put one of those artificial backgrounds on and just pretend she's at the beach. It would be quite amazing, I think. I, on the other hand, I'm looking far too much like a shaggy dog. I'd like to say I'm going for the Beatles look, except I'm just not cool enough to pull that kind of hairstyle off, you know. But anyway, Mentality Meets. In these sessions, we will be talking all things mental health, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the realities of mental health and mental health illnesses. What that means is that we need you just to be a little bit aware of what's going on inside of you. We don't have any personal information about you, so we don't know whether you have experienced mental health illnesses in the past, whether you are experiencing mental health illnesses right now. So please look after yourselves. There is help and support out there if you feel like you need to. So if you are looking for immediate help and support, the Samaritans is probably your best option on 116 123. Give them a call and talk to someone today. Another option is that you can text SHOUT to 85258. And by doing that, what it will do is it will send a message through, and then someone from the team will be back in contact with you and able to start a conversation with you. Now, on these sessions, we're also talking about the hubofhope.co.uk. Now, with the hubofhope.co.uk, you can put your postcode into that website and it will give you all the mental health provision in your local area. Now, this is brilliant if you're supporting someone on the other side of the country, because it means you can put their postcode in, and lo and behold, it will show you all the mental health provision in their local area. So as we go through this topic today, please do look after yourselves, stay safe, and we are going to talk all things mental health. So, firstly, I want to get to know you, our audience. So, what I'd like to do is, in your chat bar, just stick down, what's your name? The second question I want to know is, when was the last time you ate an entire bar of chocolate? And then the third question I would like to know about you is, where in the country are you from today? Okay, because we've got people from all over the place. So those are my three questions. What is your name? When was the last time you ate a full bar of chocolate? And now I don't mind if you're going to talk about a little bar of chocolate, or for me, one of those full 1 kilogram bars of chocolate, because yes, I have sat down and eaten one of those to myself. I've got to admit, it was alongside a box of Pringles. So I've done well in my diet in the context of this lockdown process. So let me know what's going on for you. We've got Vicky, who's saying, this is lovely hair, Marsha. Very envious of your hair. We've got Betty, going to Betty Boo, Emmy at the weekend, Dairy Milk, Chester. Deborah says yesterday in West Wales. Gillian says Winchester. Does fun size count? Gillian, fun size always counts. In essence, even if it was just a Freddo face, it would still count as an entire bar of chocolate in my world. Vicky says, hi, don't like chocolate. What? Vicky, I don't know what to say, but you can eat cheese. Like it's going out of fashion. Cheese is definitely one I can get on board with. So yeah, definitely cheese eater. Zara in Cambridge, hi, ate a Yorkie bar about 3 months ago, and it made me feel sick. It's only a Yorkie bar. And grab a bag of salt and vinegar, no problem. Boom, like it. With you, Vicky, on the don't like chocolate. I'm missing the understanding of don't like chocolate in this chat today. So Helen last night, Mini Twin 12 did Mini Twin 12. That's a good little chocolate bar right there, Helen. Thank you very much for joining us. So anyone else, if you're wondering what on earth we're talking about, we are talking about what is your name? When was the last time you ate an entire bar of chocolate, and where in the country are you? So enough about silliness and what's going on. Now, the chat bar is there, so as you as an audience can get involved with the conversation that we're going to be digging into today. So Marsha, I would like to just ask you to give a little bit of a background as to who you are and your experience of mental health illnesses, and just a little bit about what you would like to talk about today. So Marsha, over to you.
Thank you. I am 44 years old and live in Manchester, and it's only in the last few years that I actually have I have a sense of purpose. And so one of the things that I want to talk to you about is my lived experience, not anyone else's, my lived experience with borderline personality disorder. It's otherwise known as emotional unstable personality disorder. They're both horrible names. They're both atrocious names. And there's a lot of anger with people because of the labels that come with them, with this condition, disorder. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to be talking about how my carers that come in the morning and at night help keep me sane during the lockdown. And it was the carer this morning who used the diffuser on my hair and stuff like that. So and then I'll also be talking to you about the chocolate safe that as we go on I'll talk about. So yeah, so can I ask if the people, has anyone heard of BPD before?
So yeah, good question. Because to be honest, Marsha, when people kind of say BPD, I go for bipolar disorder, and it kind of threw me for quite a while that when people were talking about BPD, they weren't talking about bipolar disorder; they were talking about borderline personality disorders. Is it an experience that you find a lot, that people get the disorders muddled up?
When I was given the diagnosis, I googled it, and there's so much not nice information online, and I guess one of the things that the work that I'm trying to do is raise awareness around the stigma of BPD, so that it doesn't get mixed up, and also talk about, well, why is the person acting in the way they are, instead of saying that they're like manipulative, attention seeking, bunny boiler. It sort of ask yourself, why are they behaving the way that they are, and show them empathy. So for me, that's the thing that I'm wanting to raise the awareness. And so it's good that I've been on here with you second time, and then in April we did the meaningful conversation with the Speakers Collective and myself and Professor Peter Fonegate. We were talking about mentalization-based therapy, because that is what changed my life. And we want to do something around the stigma, because it really does cause damage to people. Yeah. So
earlier you were talking about 9 symptoms of borderline personality disorder, and that you have to have at least 5 of those symptoms to get the diagnosis. Are you able to and willing to kind of talk us through those symptoms, and can I kind of dig into them a little bit just to try and understand them a little bit more?
I wouldn't say they were symptoms, they were traits. So
okay.
Traits, there's 9 traits. So I've actually done here's some I did before. I never do this. So it's the first one is fear of abandonment, chronic feelings of emptiness, unclear shifting sense of self, impulsive and self-destructive behavior, unstable relationships, extreme mood swings, self-harm and suicide ideation, explosive anger behavior, same thing, and disassociation. So those are the 9 traits. And when I was first diagnosed and had received therapy, I actually had all 9. It was a very interesting time. But now, through receiving the life-changing therapy, I usually just have 1 or 2 of them. So that's completely changed for me. And I've gone from the suicide ideation, which is feeling suicidal thoughts multiple times a day, to I think I've only thought about self-harm or suicide about 3 or 4 times in the year, which is so unusual for me. So yeah.
Wow. So just going back to the chats of what we were talking about before, Marsha. So people saying, yes, they have heard, no, haven't heard, yes, but I don't really know much about it. It's not really talked about even in the mental health circles that we kind of go through. Rob says yes, but again, no lived experience. Sarah says, it must be so hard and sounds like a really difficult set of things to be experiencing. And just kind of for a time context, Marsha, when you say that you were diagnosed and you were experiencing all 9 of these traits, when was that? Are we talking last year, 10 years ago, or 400 years ago? I'm not saying you look that old. That's a bad thing to say. So yeah, how long ago was all this?
Just you wait until September and I'll chase you around on my scooter. Just you wait.
So yeah.
I used to be in A&E a lot of the time, and in 2008 I took a near fatal overdose, and I was in ICU in an induced coma for 3 of those weeks, and then spent another week being weaned off the oxygen and off I had tracheostomy, and it was a very traumatic time, and my family got brought to say goodbye to me. I died on 2 occasions, and then in 2010 I then went on to receive life-changing and life-saving therapy called Mentalization-based Therapy. Although there are other types of therapy. I must admit I'm a bit biased because I received it, and now doing some work with Peter on it. But there's dialectal behaviour therapy, cognitive analytical therapy, and mentalization-based therapy. I think they are the 3 sort of most common as psychological therapies that are offered. So yeah,
That's amazing, Marsha. And I honestly didn't know. And what I wanted to try and understand is that because you're saying kind of 2008 that was that situation, and 2010 you received the therapy, the mentalization-based therapy, and did it instantly change, and therefore kind of you have been in recovery since 2010, or has it been a much longer journey in the process of trying to come to terms with the different traits? Because I also want to ask, what do those traits look like? And this is a bit of a question for the audience out there as well. Are there any of those traits that you would like more information of? And so just to run through them really quickly, we had the fear of abandonment, chronic feelings of emptiness, unclear and shifting sense of self, impulsive and self-destructive behaviors, unstable relationships, extreme emotional swings of mood, self-harming and suicidal ideation, and then explosive anger and disassociation. Now, these are kind of big words and big topics. And so, Marsha, kind of when you're saying kind of that mentalization-based therapy is what really helped in 2010, was it a quick turnaround? Was it a slow turnaround? Are we talking days, weeks, months, years here?
Years. And so mentalization is the ability to think about thinking, examine your own thoughts and beliefs, and also are they useful, realistic, and based on reality. So that is what mentalization is. And so the best way I can describe it is I had a million things going through my head at the same time. And because of how people were, or you've just got to get on with it, or when you used to phone our crisis out, if I was, oh, go and have a bubble bath or read a book, and it, and it was all just not validating the very real trauma, fears, and that the traumatic times. So we, for MBT, you have to do an initial. There was a 12-week initial introduction to the group, and then it was an 18-month weekly therapy. So it was 1-to-1 on a Monday, and then on a Wednesday it was group therapy. And it was like the MBT, the group. It was, can you imagine people, like there was originally 10, but 5 dropped out. 5 people with completely different states and levels of persistent distress and handling it in ways, and then we'd almost be attacking each other verbally, and it was quite distressing. But it then made me realise that it was okay to feel the way that I was feeling. And so for me, I learned that it's okay to feel like that, and not beat myself up because of it.
Yes.
And it did take a few years, and but since then, one of the things is messing up relationships or unstable relationships. Well, my pride, the proud thing of myself is that for the last few years, I've been out, I've been networking, I've made friends, I've got a support network, and people's belief in me, which then means that I then can now have belief in myself, and not be that little Scottish voice putting my hand up, asking the questions, whereas now I have the Speakers Collective, and the support network, and so, but the thing that's been helping is I've got the right type of home care at the minute for me, or else I could, especially with what's happening, I probably would have ended up in hospital.
Wow. So some of the questions that are coming in, Marsha, thank you, by the way, for just how open and honest you're being with us in this session. And kind of so Vicky is just saying, can you give us a little bit more about the abandonment context, and how does that show itself, or how did it show itself for you?
Everyone used to leave me. My real father and my stepfather, because of my mental health. When I found out that my stepdad wasn't my real dad when I was 13, and it sort of made sense because of how he was with me, and then my half brother, who was his son. And then when I came back from South Africa to live in Scotland and went and met my real father, at first he was so happy to see me and that, but then when you hear about the borderline personality disorder and that, so they rejected me. And then like with all the acting out over the years, it's affected my relationship with my mother. She doesn't see the progress that I've made, and so
So a question
yeah.
sorry, Marsha, a question from me is, because that sounds, I can't even begin to imagine that process. And does that, or has that created, therefore, kind of the situations that you're talking about of real abandonment? Is that what then creates this internal psychological process that creates a belief system that says everyone's going to abandon me? And is it that fear of abandonment that becomes one of the traits? Because as you talk about it, that fear of abandonment makes perfect sense in the context of what you've experienced to kind of the generation of that process. And that would you say that it's the lived experience of abandonment that's created this internal belief that now everyone will? And is it still something that you battle with today? That's kind of a lead-on question on that.
It used to be, but then it was my best friend who, no matter how much I pushed him away, he was like, I'm not going anywhere. And he helped support me through therapy, and I call him my guardian angel. He was there when no one else was, and then encouraged me to start meeting people, and so
No, that's brilliant. I'm aware of time, Marsha, and I want to ask you more questions. So sorry. Can I ask you more questions? Is that all right? To kind of look at some other stuff. Are you okay?
Okay, but we need to talk about my carers as well.
We do. We mustn't forget about carers. So there are two other things that have come up on the chat about the shifting sense of self, because just trying to understand what that context looks like. And then Lisa just kind of put, just to have one of these traits, it alone is going to be fairly impactful on someone's life. So to have them all combined is just amazing of where you are now. And so really brilliant stuff. So can you just try and help us understand that whole shifting sense of self? That's too many such a in a sentence for me. So yeah, can you try and explain that for us, Marsha?
So I'd gone from being a recluse to then Joe Emerson telling me off for doing too much.
Joe's probably cringing in the background. We know you're on the call, Joe. But yeah, so hang on. So from being a recluse to going out and almost kind of trying to take on the world and doing too much, and how does that impact on that sense of self?
So I have fibromyalgia, which is a debilitating pain condition. That I also get fibro fog and chronic fatigue. And I always try and make up for some of the things by doing way too much. And an example of, I do a lot of health and social care work, and I was in London quite a lot, and I live in Manchester. And when the COVID started and all the meetings got cancelled, it literally felt like it was a house of cards folding, and my sense of purpose evaporated.
Yes.
And it's just through our Monday afternoon speakers time and our Thursday night that has sort of helped me and been able to sort of see some of the work that Emmy's doing, and hopefully Deborah, you'll be able to join us on one of the Thursday nights and that, and it's just the sense of community sort of that has kept me
Brilliant. No, thank you. And because of time, we're 5 minutes away from the end, and I know you want to talk about your carers. So you've already kind of explained that these are the guys who come in the morning, come in the evening, and who are just helping to maintain your mental health at this time. So talk us through that process and the impact that it has on you.
I call my carers my fairy godmothers, because they come in and they sprinkle dust, fairy dust on me. And it means that I can then do these type of things. Or they used to pack my case when I was going to London. And they give my medicine. I've got a medicine safe, because and then they'll give me, each time they come in, they'll give me the medicine in case I heard it and then want to self-harm and stuff with it. So it's like a safe. But with lockdown happening and that, I went through a stage of reckless behaviour, which is wanting to eat loads of chocolate, which doesn't help with my type 2 diabetes. So I ordered, we actually had it, the fire-resistant safe for passports and that. Well, it's now called the chocolate safe. So my son goes shopping on a Monday, so it gets put in there. So like when the carers come at night, they'll give me my crunchie. Sometimes I get 2 crunchies because the ones in the packs are not as
Amazing. So you have a chocolate safe. Yes. Can I just ask, audience out there, does anyone else need a chocolate safe? Marsha, can I become your chocolate safe? I'm not sure you'd ever get it back, but that is a brilliant idea to have a chocolate safe. So anyone else, you got a chocolate safe? And then Zara's going to put no, but I think I need one of those for crisps. I think I need it for all of the cupboards in my house, to be fair. Because if I get on a grazing spree, oh my gosh, the whole house is kind of like a goat, it's kind of like nibbling away at different stuff. Marsha, go on.
I need my carers, right? I've got Chicken Soup Jane. Mm-hmm. She makes the most amazing chicken soup.
So Chicken Soup Jane? Is it
Chicken Soup Jane?
Brilliant.
Fresh chicken. Then I've got Holistic Jane, who does... she knows all about medication and vitamins and that. But they really, the thing is, they're not just, they hear from my mental well-being as well. And it's that package of care that has been tailored to me, and it's only temporarily. I had bad domiciliary care over a year ago and ended up at crisis point on 4 occasions, not wanting to live. And so I've got this temporary package of care, and these carers are just so amazing, because like if they come in and they know my dips, they can tell when I'm really in lots of pain. They noticed like 2 weeks ago when my mood started going low and that, and I wouldn't, and my community mental health nurse Nicola, it's because they've all worked together, and or else I would have definitely ended up in hospital. So it's Mentalization-based Therapy, it's the Speakers Collective, my carers, and my CPN that's meant that I'm whole like this at the minute.
Yeah.
So thank you for letting me talking about chicken soup.
Oh, Marsha, it's not a thank you to me. It's a thank you to you for just your openness and your genuineness. I don't even know if that's a word, but just how you've spoken today about these things, and the willingness for me to dig in and ask those difficult questions as well, and just your willingness to help us understand what it means, because every single mental health illness is different. And what I'm experiencing through these mentality meets is just to realize how wide and diverse the program and process is. And I mean, you can't hide it. I've definitely seen that cookie that you're trying to get away from the dog. I don't know if anyone else saw that, but that was just criminal in the conversation around chocolate. I mean, oh, look at that. It's the size of your head. This is incredible stuff. But you know what, guys? It is now 3:30, so it is the official ending of our Mentality Meets. And Marsha, what I'm picking up from your conversation today is that one form of care is not enough. You need to have a much more holistic approach to looking after our mental health. And so even if we are in a place of being well within our mental health, we need so many different things that are contributing to the health of our minds and the health of our bodies and how we look after ourselves. And so, Marsha, I just want to say a massive thank you to you for your time today. Go on,
Thank
Marsha, you've got one last thing to say. Go on.
Everyone go away and start having a conversation about borderline personality disorder and doing something about the stigma. That would really help for me.
Brilliant.
So thank you.
And can I encourage people? So all of the Mentality Meets are online, so you can listen to them again, and it's all through Peter Larkum / Mentality Meets. And just encourage people to come back and take a look at this, and just to hear how awful it is and how awesome it is to come out the other side. And so, Marsha, thank you so much. You know, everyone, I have been Peter Larkum. This has been Marsha McAdam, and we have been Mentality Meets. Take care, God bless, and bye-bye now. Yay! And there's our official ending, everybody. You can stick around if you would like to and just chat this through further, but I'm aware that time is always a pressure for most people. So, but Marsha, thank you for your time. If you would like to unmute yourselves and join the conversation, you are most welcome to do so. There is obviously no pressure at all. So, Marsha, how was that for you?
It's fine. I want to know what Emmy's dog's called.
What's your dog called, Emmy? She can't talk. She's totally...
My daughter has just come in with, like, they're warm as well, warm cookies. And they're chocolate, and I'm trying to keep the dog away. You can't see her, but she's behind the computer. She's called Phoebe.
So Phoebe the dog, chocolate cookies, daughter's baking. Oh, my 4-year-old son, sorry, I'm going to jump onto this bandwagon of cooking. My 4-year-old son today said, I want to bake a cake. I looked at him with a very blank expression. I have no idea how to do this. And we've managed to form a little bit of a bubble with our next door neighbours, where the boys can kind of go round and kind of sneak in, and they go round and go, are you there, are you there, are you there? And then they literally kind of went round and baked a cake today. Because it was like, I want to bake a cake. So they baked a cake and they brought it back, and it's now all ready for our other son who's been off at school today. So
Love that.
Brilliant, isn't it? Especially when other people do it. I have no idea how to bake, you know.
My daughter's very good at cooking. She's done all that on her own. I said I can't do it until after 4 o'clock. She's like, no, it's fine. I'll do it myself.
Brilliant. If you ever want to send her down to Winchester, I would not object to any cookies. Brilliant. Anyone else want to come and join the conversation today? And if not, again, totally fine. So, Marsha, another question that I have for you, and
wait a minute.
I want to try and...
Rob was going to say something.
Well, Rob, you go for it.
I unmuted, that's all it was, and then you started talking. I didn't really have much to contribute other than I just wanted to thank you, Marsha, for being so open and honest and generous about your experiences. It's something that's new to me, and I had no idea about the range of traits that are involved. Something I'm only just starting to learn about myself. So it's so useful for me to have someone like you with all that lived experience to share it, so I can feel a little bit of what it's like, just a tiny little bit of what it's like. It's very valuable. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, and I will take your advice, and I will have some conversations about this with other people and try and help other people understand, because I didn't know. So
can I ask which community that you're going to take them to?
Well, I am training to be a mental health first aider at the moment, and I work in a big corporation. So my intention is, when I qualify from that and when I get back into work, I'm going to start a series of kind of sessions to help people understand a little bit more about all different kinds of aspects of mental health. And one of them is definitely going to be situations like yours.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks.
Yeah, brilliant.
What was it you wanted to ask, Peter?
Oh, I wanted to ask. Well, I kind of wanted to share on a recording of Mentality Meets that it's your fault that Mentality Meets is even a thing. And it was because one of the first conversations that we had as Speakers Collective was about how do we stay connected when so many people feel in isolation. And it was something that I'd literally been musing on that day, of how can I kind of get people together on a Zoom call like this and be talking more openly about mental health. And it was you sharing that basically kind of made me kind of bite the bullet and go with it. And that conversation happened on the Thursday, and I think our first mentality meets was a week the following Monday. And so it really did kind of, it was something that was meant to be, I think. So thank you for being a part of it. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I think this should be our formal ending of the Mentality Meet. So guys, thank you so much for your time today. Marsha, thank you. If anyone has any questions, do feel free to connect with Marsha, or you can connect with me through the Mentality Meets website. But you know what, take care. God bless. And bye-bye now.
Bye.